Outer experience reflects inner reality. When I say this to a lot of my clients, there's a misinterpretation or confusion attached, of course, because it can be taken many different ways. But in this video, I want to explain to you how our experience of our reality comes with many filters due to inner misinterpretations, inner wounding, and past experience. When we want to change our reality, it means we have to change the place that is filtering our reality so that our outer experience becomes a reflection of not the wounding, but of the abundance that's rising from within. Watch this video. So this subject can be quite confusing, but it's one of my favorite sort of spiritual truths is that a lot of times people come to me and they say, if there wasn't something wrong with me, nothing would go wrong. And I say, wow, the fact that things go wrong and you think it's because of something being wrong with you is your filter. The rejection wound, the unworthiness wound, the abandonment wound. I talk about this all the time, but the way we change our experience of reality is by changing our experience of within. So I tell a story a lot about a rejection wound I had when I was a teenager. Like many of the videos that I do, I was that kid that grew up with shame, thinking something was wrong with me because I thought differently, because I couldn't find anyone in my immediate environment to relate to the insights I was having or the deep, high sensitivity I was experiencing or the spiritual realm that I was tapping into. And I thought I was weird and different and it didn't really fit in. And a lot of people think that's strange when they hear me say that because they say, well, you look like you would fit in. And of course I did, but I didn't feel like I did because there was a level of connection I needed that I wasn't getting, and I wasn't finding my tribe. I wasn't finding where I fit. I didn't feel like I fit to this world. I felt like I had this understanding that wasn't being tapped into, and here I am today sharing that, and so many of you are tapping into it. So we kind of do have to be the change. So that led me down this road of not being sure that I was okay, not being sure that I was enough, not being sure that this inner reality I had, this inner feeling of being the light, was true or not. And I didn't know how to know the certainty of my own identity. And I started searching externally, like so many of us do. And in that external search, I relied so much on my environment and other people's opinions of me to reflect that goodness within me. So I was very vulnerable to rejection in my teen years and a little bit after that, because anytime there would be a rejection of sorts or anything that seemed like it, it would reawaken that original wounding. So in my courses, you guys probably know I talk a lot about the original wound and how to heal that original wound. And why we want to heal that original wound is because what it does is it constantly reflects in our outer reality until it's completely healed. So the example I was going to give is, as I became a teenager and I started really connecting with my spiritual self, and I started having these downloads that I've talked about before, and I started having spiritual awakenings and reading auras and doing all these things, I started really knowing that that inner world I felt so connected to was my true reality. But anytime I would have a rejection, whether it was because someone was jealous or teenagers do weird things, I would get re-triggered into this shame spiral that I didn't know how to get out of, the emotional pain body. And that's what really pushed me into learning all I could about a deeper emotional understanding, about emotional intelligence, about spiritual psychology, about all the things that I was understanding but didn't have anyone to reflect to me. And so I had to go within to really start to analyze my own insight. And what I realized by doing that is I didn't feel a victim anymore to my conditions and surroundings. I would notice things would happen and I would start to ask myself, did that happen? Or did that thing happen because of all the meaning I attached to it? Did someone reject me because there's something wrong with me? Or did they just reject me because it's a kid rejecting a kid? Did my parent not love me because I didn't feel like that? Or was there something going on in their world? We can go deeper and deeper and deeper with this. The issue that happens with a pattern that hasn't been healed from the original wound is that we actually create it now from the place of our attraction. Meaning, if I have an original wound of rejection, there's something wrong with me. Anytime anything happens that resonates with that, I'm actually going to dive into further and give more attention to. So I might attract more of that experience. And the reason we attract more of that experience, because that's what's going on within us, but also because that's what needs to be healed. And until it's healed, it will keep coming up as an opportunity for us to see it a different way, to heal it back to the truth that it really is, rather than the misinterpretation we've been running on subconsciously sometimes for our whole lives. And so how I really healed my, let's say, rejection wound, I've had many of them, right? But how I really healed my, let's say, original rejection wound, instead of thinking, see, I'm rejected again, something's wrong with me. It really helped when I became a model and you get rejected all the time, whether you're too tall, too short, too thin, too fat, too blonde, too whatever. You're never going to be perfect for everyone in the industry. So I really got over my rejection wound by realizing it's not personal. And I started taking that not personal experience into all triggers that I would have. So if I got rejected in a relationship or at a job, I would really look at it. Was I really rejected because I wasn't enough, because there was something wrong with me, or because I wasn't right for the job, or because I wasn't right for that guy or that girl or whoever in my life was bringing up something that was in me? So my experience of reality was based on the filter I had. And when I started upgrading my filter by doing the inner work and realizing by doing the inner work, there never was anything wrong with me. Maybe my ideas about the world that weren't being mirroring by the world is because I am the difference that there needs to be. There needs to be a change. And so many of us are coming into the world with differences right now because we need to be the different thing that this world so deeply needs, but we're being unempowered by thinking there's something wrong with us for thinking different or looking different or feeling different, deeper. And what I love to do is empower people to understand that if you're having a difference, you're going to make a difference. If you are different, you're here to make a difference. But so often we're not taught this external reality. We're taught that if something doesn't match up or if it doesn't feel good, it means what that feeling is saying. There's something wrong with me. And what we have to do, this could be confusing, but what I want you to take from this is we have to rise up to understand that we are divine beings having a human experience, which is what the world needs right now. It needs for us to remember that we are divine beings. And if that is true, then would someone really be rejecting you? Would somebody be hating you? Would somebody be not loving you because of you? No, it is because of projection and a filter of their own onto you. We have to understand that our external experience is only a reflection of the internal reality we are currently filtering through. And if we can start to really look at every aspect of why I think I'm not enough, or why I think I'm a failure, or why any of these negative emotional experiences, why do I have these? Are they true, or do they need to be upgraded? Are they true, or are they tiny little crazy ideas we bought into as children because we didn't have another option? We didn't have a higher vision. When we upgrade our inner world and our inner experience to match self-love and self-trust, which takes work, but it's possible. When we start to upgrade that as our new filter, we don't see things as happening to us. We see it as happening for us. I don't see someone rejecting me as a personal attack on my unworthiness. I see someone rejecting me because they might be going through something, or they don't really like something that's going on with me because it's triggering them. I no longer sit here and think that things that happen to me that feel negative are because of me or defining me. When we have a certain identity and we know that we are divine beings having a human experience, we realize that anything that happens to us and we filter negatively, we need to double check. That's the ego part that needs to be upgraded into the soul understanding. And so guys, how do we change our outer experience of the world? By changing our inner filter to line up with our truth rather than our fears, our egos, and our misinterpretations of identity. I hope this helps someone today. I wanted to remind you guys that my course, Emotional Rehab, 12-week course, is still open for enrollment. If you really break it down, because I know things are crazy right now with this virus and a lot of people are tuning in online and doing courses, and I want to just suggest this one because it really breaks down to $8 a day of soul food. Literally $8 a day to be engaged for 12 weeks, have live calls, and do this inner work so that our experience of our outer reality can elevate. I love you guys so much. Please click the links below. I also should mention, if you want to be part of my YouTube membership, where you get these certain little bits of wisdom in your own little zone, just for members only, you can join by clicking the little join button. I think it's right there. Click join, you get extra special things. I mention you in a video, which I have 3 new people today. I have to mention in my next video. I'll mention you in my next video. You get into my Facebook group for lives, and I will be giving you extra little goodies along the way. So please check that out. Please share and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys soon.